And it is extremely easy and private, and allows you to really self-manage your abortion. And Charlie, I want to share with you really quickly, like this here is mifepristone. This is the first of two pills you would take to end a pregnancy, and it would induce an abortion, this very pill, by blocking the hormone and allowing a pregnancy to grow. And I want to show you how easy it is and safe it is by taking it myself.
You're taking it? Are you? You're not pregnant, are you?
I would say that this is going to end a pregnancy. This would be my third abortion.
Wow, that doesn't happen often, Rebecca.
My choice! 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 She's touching me. She's touching me.
Bless you.
It's my body, my choice. It's my body, my choice.
Chapter 4.
Overturn, go. Hell no.
God is good.
My body, my choice. I am who I say I am. I do what I say I can do because I have a choice. I have a choice. I have a choice.
I know this.
I've had 2 abortions.
That's terrible.
I don't give a. It's my body. It's my choice. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Call me a.
Welcome back to Calculated Confusion Exposed. It should be common sense that abortion is evil, and sadly that is not the case. I may make a future video explaining why, but that is not specifically the highlight of today's video. Today we will be covering Planned Parenthood, a company that, despite its horrific procedures, is celebrated by the masses. I will be breaking down Planned Parenthood and its racist origins.
Margaret Sanger was the founder of the American reproductive rights movement.
Margaret Sanger was born Margaret Higgins on September 14, 1879, in Corning, New York. She came from a very large Roman Catholic family, having 11 siblings. After attending college, she studied to become a nurse.
Margaret Sanger came of age during the period of the Comstock Act. This was a statute that made it illegal to discuss, distribute materials, or provide women with anything related to birth control or contraception.
Sanger thought that the best way to change the law was to break the law. She launched the Woman Rebel, which promoted birth control, collecting the attention of the U.S. government, which immediately indicted her for publishing obscene materials. Instead of risking 20 years in prison, she flew the country and went into exile in England.
Sanger spent 1 year in England and returned to the United States in 1915 when the charges against her were dropped. A year later, she opened America's first birth control clinic in Brooklyn.
Margaret Sanger is praised for pushing women's rights. But one of her main purposes for Planned Parenthood is eugenics. Eugenics is a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. Historically, eugenicists have attempted to alter human gene pools by excluding people in groups judged to be inferior or promoting those judged to be superior. Margaret Sanger was a big supporter of this. These next few clips will show that Margaret Sanger has no regard for life and was a racist that actually wanted to use Planned Parenthood as a means of control, not freedom.
To understand present-day Planned Parenthood, we should understand Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood's founder and hero.
Margaret Sanger was a big proponent of negative eugenics, which was the viewpoint that you should weed out unfit people from the bloodline. So that would be encouraging people not to procreate if they were unfit, feeble-minded, had any kind of mental illness, and that also included forced sterilization.
Words like unfit and feeble-minded were used to describe not only the poor and mentally ill, but also to describe African Americans.
Margaret Sanger stated that birth control is nothing more or less than the facilitation of the process of weeding out the unfit, of preventing the birth of defectives or of those who will become defectives.
In 1921, Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League. Its primary mission was to prevent uncontrolled procreation and establish a world program of birth control.
She states, knowledge of birth control is essentially moral. Its general, though prudent practice must lead to a higher individuality and ultimately to a cleaner race. Margaret Sanger stated that the most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it.
In 1939, Sanger wrote a letter to her eugenics colleague, Dr. Clarence Gamble, a member of the Birth Control Federation of America, in regards to setting up the Negro Project, a birth control clinic for African Americans.
She was speaking about serving what she called the Negro population, and in concluding this portion of the letter, she stated that we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Sanger believed that having an African American minister on staff would ease the suspicion.
African American populations were considered some of these unfit members that should be weeded out. So in this letter, she discusses having African Americans serve other African Americans so they wouldn't be aware that they were seeking to terminate them, to exterminate them by the use of birth control and negative eugenics.
Sanger was
I don't know about you, but my heart is praying for all the women of America today. Unless you're under a rock, you are fully aware of the overturning by the Supreme Court of Roe versus Wade. Again, I say my prayers are for the women of America. And you all, it's a perplexed issue. The reality is we cannot only be concerned about the unborn and then not be concerned about their life after birth. Can I talk to some real people? I submit to you that my Bible teaches me, Isaiah, that God is pro-life. He says, I'll come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. But if I could rock your theological noodle, I submit to you that my Bible teaches me that God is pro-choice also. How can you say that? He said, choose ye this day whom you will serve. The Old Testament says, I have set before you life and death. Therefore, I'm not going to legislate the answer for you. Therefore, choose life. That both you, I wish I had some Bible readers in the building, you and your descendants may live. And there are some churches today that's celebrating this. There are some churches that are lamenting this. And I would just want to say, I think before the church does any kind of victory lap, I want to encourage us as the body of Christ to walk in humility, to be teachable, to be patient, to double check what are we really celebrating today and how is it impacting others.
This week, America turned back the hands of time and declared war on women in this nation. I wanted us to stand resolutely to say to this nation that if America was authentically pro-life, then they would immediately abolish the death penalty. If they were really pro-life, then they would put more money into Head Start programs. If they were pro-life, they would seek to cure the opiate addiction in this nation. If they were pro-life, they would make sure that teachers feel safe in their schools. If they were pro-life, there would be stricter measures about gun control in this nation. If it was pro-life, we would not have to deal with food insecurity. But I stand with now the living matriarch of the movement, Maxine Waters, who said they have declared war on 32 million women in this nation. And one thing about a woman, when she is focused, she is not going to stop until she gets what she needs. We stand, but we realize that this is not just a woman's issue. Unless I don't understand how pregnancy works, men have to extend their voices as well. And so we speak to this nation to declare that New Birth stands with the amazing women of this church, of this community, and of this country, that women have the right to have authority over their body. And it should not be legislated by men in Washington, D.C. I want all of us all over this room, would you do me a favor? Would you celebrate the women around you who are competent enough to make decisions about their bodies, decisions about their life, and decisions about their future? We're praying steadfastly because what we are seeing is racism rearing its head again. With this measure that has just taken place, black baby infant mortality is going to rise by 30%. And hence we cover the lives of our mothers, of our pregnant mothers, and our unborn babies. I need you to do me a favor, please. While last Sunday was Father's Day, today we stand in the gap for mothers and for emerging mothers. I need you to do me a favor, please, because I need you to be mindful that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty unto God for the pulling down of strongholds. There is something satanic afoot in Washington, D.C. So today, proudly, we dedicate babies in our church. They're coming at this time because we believe that children are the future. But we also believe that mothers have the right to elect where it is that they are in the season and the stages of their life, and they should not be criminalized for making decisions that will best suit them for where it is that they are. As we're living in a world that is declaring war on women, we declare that God is going to make you fit for the battle, that there'll be no obstacle you will not be able to overcome. I anoint your hands even in this moment, that God will give you the strength to take hold of whatever it is that you go after. I anoint your feet by the power of the Holy Spirit, that you will have dominion in the earth just as you do in heaven. And all the people of God said, amen. Sisters, make some noise even now.
We are concerned about the direction of our country, and we keep in prayer. The Supreme Court has shown us the direction that they want to go. And we as Christians, obviously, we're not interested or wanting to see anyone have an abortion. But please understand this, if it is illegal, there are still going to be women and babies that die. And it is dangerous for poor and black and brown people not to have a choice and not to have a free, fair, and few option.
So the literal definition of satanic is to inevitably make it exclusively about you. I feel like we got a lot of satanic Christians. We got a lot of Christians that have taken the posture and the pace and the role of Satan, and they're making it about them with no consideration for anybody else other than themselves, their opinion, their perspective. So we're taking a position on guns, and our positions have become satanic because there's no consideration for anybody else other than ourselves. We're taking our position on abortion, and we've made it satanic because we're not giving any consideration for any other perspectives. I know you don't like that way that sounded. Because it's all way more nuanced. It's all layered. And God says, I care about everybody that's affected. I care about the woman and the choice that she has to struggle to make. God says, if we're going to be pro-life, let's be pro all the way life. And the challenge is many of us aren't pro-life. We're really pro-birth. because our compassion wanes once the child is born. Come on, can we just talk about it? It's nuanced. It's not that simple. It's not that, and that's what Paul is saying. The body is a complicated thing. And the worst thing you can do with the body is begin to make it about yourself. He says,
what is the number one myth about this issue, about the issue of abortion, reproductive justice, that you wish could be dispelled, that you want people to know is a myth and not reality? And whoever would like to start, go. Okay, I'll go. Okay, and then you can follow if you get inspired. Okay, so the number one myth that I want to dispel is that I hear so many times, I hear people come to me and say, you should be, solidly pro-life. Well, I want you to know I am for life, but I am for life from the mind of God through conception all the way to death. But the myth is that it is Black babies that are being targeted for abortions. And so I should be for this. I should be for the pro-life movement because it's saving Black babies from being aborted. Well, I want to say that's a myth. The truth is that abortion follows poverty. That poverty is the number one most clear indicator of abortion rates in America. Wherever you have high poverty rates, you will also have high abortion rates. So I was amazed when I was living in New York City and people would point to me. I mean, people of color, pastors of color will say, well, what about East New York? East New York has the highest abortion rates. That is evidence that they are targeting babies in East New York. We need to stop this. No. Do your homework. If you look at East New York, it has the highest poverty rate in New York City. And so therefore, it also has the highest abortion rates. Now, what does that tell you about the choices people are making? They are actually making economic choices about how much they can handle. And that is based on the reality that services for poor families have been cut by the very same people who want to outlaw abortion. Hello, somebody. Yeah.
Sanger was quite fond of Dr. Ernst Ruden's work, director for the Society for Racial Hygiene. He would later go on to write Nazi Germany's sterilization laws. In 1933, she published his article, Eugenic Sterilization, An Urgent Need, which promoted programs to eliminate the unfit in order to create a super race. In the late 1930s and 40s, knowledge of Nazi atrocities made words like eugenics and population control unpopular in America. So in 1942, to distance itself in name, Margaret Sanger's American Birth Control League became Planned Parenthood. They weren't just being established in the U.S., it was global. A grim fact in American history was the forced sterilization of women in Puerto Rico. In 1936, sterilization programs spearheaded by the International Planned Parenthood Federation, with funding from the U.S. government, sterilized 1/3 of Puerto Rican women by 1968, making it the highest proportion of childbearing-aged persons sterilized in the world. And today,
Planned Parenthood facilities are generally located in low-income areas which are heavily populated with minorities, and a lot of times they seek to reach those minorities to help them with reproductive rights, they say, with birth control and largely abortion.
Independent studies have concluded that nearly 80% of Planned Parenthood facilities are set up in minority communities. It's no wonder abortion is the leading cause of death among African Americans, higher than all other causes combined. Mounting evidence against Planned Parenthood's beginning to today continues to fuel public outcry.
In a letter to Planned Parenthood President Alexis McGill Johnson, they write in part, quote, "Can Planned Parenthood really claim to care for Black lives while remaining complicit in the targeting of Black pregnant women? This massive inequity and the disproportionate harm it does to Black Americans is fully in keeping with the racist eugenicist vision of your organization's founder." Joining me now on Skype is Reverend Dean Nelson, Executive Director of the Pro-Life Human Coalition Action and one of the signatories of that letter. Reverend, welcome back to the show. Always good to see you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
You say the impact of abortion on the black community is disproportionate. Let's talk more about that and the lives lost.
Yeah, when you think about the roughly 1 million abortions that take place every year, roughly 36% of those are on black women. In cities like New York, there are more black children that are aborted than born alive. So it is huge in terms of the impact that abortion has had on the African American community. And we are charging and calling Planned Parenthood out because for over 100 years, through their vision of their founder, Margaret Sanger, they have systematically targeted black and minority communities specifically for their population control, and more recently, of course, since Roe v. Wade, for abortion.
But of course, this does not only affect the black community. This affects humanity. People of all shades. The United States has nearly 1 million abortions every year. 1 in 4 women in the United States have had an abortion. We look at death as healthcare. This is programming at its finest. This is a part of the depopulation agenda. Did you know that William Gates' father, who passed away in 2020, was on the board of Planned Parenthood? And just look at this photo of a 2001 meetup. This needs no explanation. I'm sure you guys can connect some of the dots here of how this plays into their agenda. Today we can see how the media has controlled a narrative on this issue, brainwashing the masses with content. Let's take a look at some clips that try to plant seeds into the masses.
Fine, you're fine. You always use a condom, so you're fine.
Hey, dude. I've got this thing. If a young woman needs a procedure, is that possible? Where's the closest facility? There's an Albuquerque in Missouri? The law won't let me get one without my parents knowing. I know we're not close anymore. True. And I'm the last person that you want to help. Accurate. But I need your help, and I don't have anywhere else to go. Go where? To get the thing, the procedure.
So you're hiding this from your man, your best friend,
Hey, girl.
and your Jesus freak parents, and you thought, why not ask Bailey Butler to drive me hundreds of miles, because she probably doesn't have anything to do anyway.
Why are they looking at the car?
I see my mom's boyfriend's car.
We're driving a stolen car?
Trains go fast.
This storm is unlike anything we've seen in 50 years. It's sweeping across the country, and now the Supreme Court has decided.
Abortion has been under attack. Many are wondering what will
Similar
go next.
tensions at the Supreme Court, specifically about...
We've all felt this storm coming. It's been building for a long time, sweeping across the country, destroying our freedoms. Now, the storm is here. They've stolen our right to control our own bodies, robbed our ability to decide our futures. And they plan to steal far more than abortion. But we're built for this. We don't stand by. We walk into the storm and turn its raw force into something transformative. Because we don't fight for the world as it was or as it is. We fight for a just world, for ourselves and generations to come. Together, we take back power over our bodies, our lives, our abortions, our futures. Together, we are a force of nature. Join us.
Hey. I am so sick and tired of old men. Men in general. Sorry. But old ones, especially. Shut the up about our body! Oh my God! Shut the up! Like,
what's up, y'all? It's Lotto, and I need y'all to pay attention to what's going on in this country. The Supreme Court took away our right to abortion, so now politicians are banning abortion, and millions of people live in states where it's illegal. I'm not okay with that. We have to decide whether and when we want to be a parent, but they want to force us to give birth. That's why I'm joining with Planned Parenthood to fight to restore our rights and expand access to care. And I want you to join too. Go to bandsoff.org to learn more about why this fight is important and how you can get involved.
Yesterday is gone.
We have to keep hope alive because we are hope itself.
Now's a brand new day. So baby, hold on tight. This time I got it right. I feel a change.
Making my decision to get my abortion saved my life.
An abortion saved my life.
It was the right choice for me.
We need to open our ears and listen. We need to open our mouths and scream.
Let us do our jobs.
Every day we come in here to fight for our patients. We hang in there.
When you're actually doing the work and taking care of the patients, abortion is healthcare.
We're the ones that we've been waiting for.
Scrubs on, boots on, ready to do the good work.
Coming over me.
They shouted, hoping this time they'll be heard. U.S. women have had legal access to abortion since the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade Supreme Court ruling. But in recent years and months, conservative states have passed laws restricting abortion. The protest was held 2 days before the Supreme Court examines a restrictive Mississippi law. The court has already refused to block a Texas bill that bans abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Women across the U.S. backed those living in states where abortion rights are under threat. There is concern the situation can get even worse across the country.
It's important for us to all keep fighting for our rights because it's our bodies. It's ridiculous. I can't believe we still have to fight for this, but we'll keep fighting for it as long as we have to.
In Washington, protesters gathered outside Congress, pushing lawmakers to pass federal laws defending abortion. And outside the Supreme Court, where conservatives now have a majority, and where protesters were met by some anti-abortion activists.
My guests, pro-life activist Rebecca Kiesling and reproductive health care advocate Jex Blackmore. Jex, I want to start with you in this segment. I've looked at your website and your social media. You seem to be promoting abortion pills, which the CDC did allow through mail order.
And it is extremely easy and private and allows you to really self-manage your abortion. And Charlie, I want to share with you really quickly, like this here is mifepristone. This is the first of 2 pills you would take to end. This is the first of 2 pills you would take to end a pregnancy, and it would induce an abortion, this very pill, by blocking the hormone and allowing a pregnancy to grow. And I want to show you how easy it is and safe it is by taking it myself.
You're taking it. Are you? You're not pregnant, are you?
I would say that this is going to end a pregnancy. This would be my 3rd abortion.
Wow, that doesn't happen often. The case is going to come. Jex, real quick, your prediction on what this Supreme Court will do with the case that's in front of it right now.
You know, I can't say for sure, and I also want to note that it doesn't actually matter because we are going to continue accessing abortion through shareabortionpill.info. We can manage our own abortion, and we've actually, through the mail, expanded and increased access to abortion more than we ever have before.
Planned Parenthood is on the defensive this morning, facing an investigation of its practices. An undercover video alleges the reproductive health organization sells body parts from abortions. The group says the claims are flat out untrue. Jan Crawford is in Washington, where 3 congressional committees are now getting involved. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. So the video was secretly recorded by the anti-abortion group as part of a 2.5-year sting operation. Here, 2 members posed as employees of a biotech firm to get access to a top doctor at Planned Parenthood. And over lunch, they recorded the whole conversation.
A lot of people want exact parts these days.
In graphic detail, Planned Parenthood's Senior Director of Medical Services described how to preserve valuable fetal tissue during an abortion.
We've been very good at getting parts on liver because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see if I can get it intact.
Over wine and salad, she answered questions about the organization providing fetal tissue to researchers, typically for a fee.
I would say it's probably anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on the facility and what's involved.
The backlash was immediate. Republican presidential candidates pounced.
I just think it's outrageous and disgusting.
And Congress announced it will investigate.
I don't care how much political weight Planned Parenthood throws around this town. No one is above the law.
But Planned Parenthood says it is following the law, that it provides the tissue legally for scientific research with consent from patients and no financial benefit. Any fees merely are to cover costs, a point the doctor made repeatedly.
The village are not looking to make money, right?
Planned Parenthood.
One of the biggest pro-life cases in the last 20 years is still underway in California. Liberty Counsel reported that more witness and evidence presentations happened this week. In the federal civil trial, Planned Parenthood is suing the Center for Medical Progress founder David Daleiden and others for producing undercover videos allegedly showing workers discussing the gathering and sale of aborted baby body parts. The videos sparked national outrage and congressional investigations.
Clinton and others weighed in today on the gathering storm in Congress over Planned Parenthood, which provides women's health services, including abortions. Today, an anti-abortion group released a 4th undercover video that it says shows Planned Parenthood doctors discussing how to distribute the body parts of fetuses for research. Here's Nancy Cordes.
Stuff like this.
The latest sting video is also the most graphic. It shows a Planned Parenthood doctor in Colorado examining a fetus and isolating different organs.
I think the per item thing works a little better just because we can see how much we can get out of it.
If we could provide...
The latest video in a sustained effort to undermine support for Planned Parenthood reprises the dramatic effects that have helped the Center for Medical Progress stoke the growing controversy. Edited undercover video with a Planned Parenthood research director in Texas talking about extracting intact fetus cadavers and body parts from abortions for use in fetal tissue research.
So that anything that we integrate into that procedure without having you cover the procedural costs is going to be higher, right? So anything about higher gestational age, there's more opportunity for complication.
Interspersed with talk about budgets and money.
If we alter our process and we are able to obtain intact fetal cadavers, then we can make it part of the budget that any dissections are this, and splitting the specimens into different shipments is this. I mean, it's all just a matter of line items.
The end of the video includes graphic pictures of what is described as fetal tissue with the voices of the actors who posed as representatives of a company that collects tissue samples, asking questions and identifying body parts with Planned Parenthood lab technicians. Today, even before it was released, the leader of the group responsible for the video predicted it would have more impact than the other productions.
It's perhaps going to be even more shocking. You're going to see evidence in it of how Planned Parenthood is actually willing to sell fully intact fetuses to buyers of aborted fetal tissue.
Joe, there's another important story that came out this week. David Daleiden of the Center for Medical Progress released a new video this week. What do our viewers need to know about this?
Well, David Daleiden, as I'm sure your viewers know, conducted an undercover 3-year investigation of Planned Parenthoods and found by their own words and actions that they were selling illegally baby body parts. Planned Parenthood said that they were not, and that David's videos were heavily edited, which they were not. Planned Parenthood sued, and in their own sworn testimonies that were released by the courts, that showed that they actually were illegally selling baby body parts, and they were illegally manipulating abortion procedures to get the most intact body parts. So everything that David's videos showed, which was just terrible, absolutely confirmed by Planned Parenthood executives themselves that that was true.
Abortion lawmakers claim Planned Parenthood facilities are the only source of health care for many patients, especially in underserved communities. Can you clarify that for us?
Planned Parenthood's own numbers, Catherine, show that they're an abortion business. According to their latest annual report, for every 100 pregnant mothers who walk into a Planned Parenthood stores, 95 of those are sold abortion.
Tonight, the Colorado Attorney General refusing to confirm that there's an investigation into this shocking undercover video. A conservative group claiming it was taken at 2 Planned Parenthood operations in the metro area. And we want to warn you, this video is not suitable for children. 7 News reporter Lindsay Watts finding it shocking for both its subject matter and the responses it generates.
I was talking with my boyfriend the other day, and
the woman speaking is posing as a 15-year-old seeking sex advice at the Planned Parenthood in Littleton.
He mentioned that book, 50 Shades of Grey.
The staff member explains what happens in that very adult book.
Like tying up and gagging involved.
And then,
have you guys ever gone to a sex shop together?
No.
Okay,
what is that?
There is tons of sex shops around here.
The worker even encourages watching
and then do some research online, like maybe watch something.
Yep, and you guys can do that together. You can do it on your own.
And a similar tone at the Lakewood Planned Parenthood.
Handcuffs, more of a combination between pleasure and pain. Figure out a safe word.
A Catholic news outlet reports that Attorney General John Suthers is now investigating, but his office would not confirm that to 7 News.
And there's more videos to come. It's an ongoing educational campaign to
The group behind the videos says taxpayers should take note of what it's found, and public money shouldn't be spent on this kind of education. Is the goal to shut down all Planned Parenthoods?
So the goal is to 100% strip taxpayer funding from Planned Parenthood, because this is an organization involved in promoting dangerous sexual practices to teens.
Lindsay Watts, 7 News.
Throughout the day, we've contacted Planned Parenthood trying to get a response to the videos, but still no statement tonight from that organization.
And I see young people who need information to make responsible decisions about their health care. And I see young people who need information.
It's not a baby. 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 Probably about 10 weeks and 5 days now, so you would have to do the surgical procedure. The surgical procedure is a dilation, it's like a DNC. It's just where they dilate your cervix and then use a vacuum aspiration procedure to remove the contents of the uterus. What's fetus? Fetus is what it's termed when it's in the uterus. Okay. Yeah. It's not like a person? Yeah. It's not like a person? Yeah. When does the heart start to beat? Usually you can start, it's around I think the 8th or the 9th week that you can hear the heartbeat. It's around, I think, the 8th or the 9th week that you can hear the heartbeat.
There was like people out there and they had like pictures.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, what are those pictures? Why do they have them?
Are those real babies? I don't know what particular pictures they have.
They're just
right
nasty,
now.
like abortion pictures.
Yeah, they're fake. There's no way that they could have obtained those pictures.
They had like a poster and they
Yeah.
couldn't talk to us, but it was kind of scary.
Yeah, no, there's no way they could have obtained those pictures. There's no way they could have obtained those pictures.
What do they do with them? Like after they take it out?
It's disposed of just through medical waste.
It's not like killing a baby.
It's not a baby. It's a fetus.
But you, like, for the most part, everything should be okay, or everything will be okay.
Oh yeah, it's a very safe procedure. It's actually safer than carrying to term.
What's carrying to term?
Like carrying the baby to term.
Well, like having the baby?
Yeah.
It's safer?
Mm-hmm. In terms of number of complications, it's safer. Having an abortion is safer than carrying to term.
Oh.
Well, the abortion won't hurt me from having more kids in the future, will it?
No.
The abortion won't hurt me from having more kids in the future, will it?
No. It's not a baby. Oh yeah. It's a very safe procedure. It's around, I think, the 8th or the 9th week.
Planned Parenthood is clearly bad for the world, and this is only scratching the surface because of YouTube censorship. I would love to let you know what these remains and fetal cells are being used for when they say research. But they are also being used for weird things like this.
So this is one of Oprah's favorites. She says it's a miracle fountain of youth and her magic wrinkle cure. So I'm going to put a little on your hand.
I do that. Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're going to rub it right in.
How come it's red?
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human
Look,
foreskin.
the wrinkles has just disappeared. I can't even ball my hand up.
But so it's made from human foreskin. I'm sorry, Steve.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, and, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are
serum.
you pushing into the skin, Sarah? Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby. That's what it is.
Okay.
Who comes up with this?
I don't think, and it's not like I'm lying there with little pieces all over my face. It's like,
Who thinks of collecting it and having it for, we'll do something with this
and
someday.
why didn't we come up with that?
Right. We'd be
yeah.
rich.
And so we call it, I call it the penis facial. And I think when you see how good it is to your face, you too will run to your local facialist and say, give me the penis. It's gonna happen. Give me the penis.
Truly sick. The connections that Planned Parenthood has is in no way ethical, and they definitely play part to a deeper, darker agenda. Before we go, let's look at one more connection that raises concern.
dollars spent on things that don't even make sense that they've been spent on. So, Mr. Dodaro, if you don't mind answering a few of my questions, can you tell me, as our comptroller of the United States, how much cash was given to abortion?
I do not know that answer. I don't have that answer.
Oh, okay. So I can tell you Planned Parenthood clinics received $80 billion in relief loans, which is hard to understand how that happened. Mr. Dodaro, can you tell me how much money cash went towards diversity, equity, and inclusion or racism issues?
Again, we have not looked at that issue, so I don't know.
Oh, geez. Well, I can tell you the Pennsylvania Humanities Council did receive $1.4 million in relief and used it for equity and geographic diversity. I'm not sure how that helped in a pandemic time. Mr. Dodaro, can you tell me how much cash went to CRT?
CRT?
Critical race theory in education. It's a racist curriculum used to teach children that somehow their white skin is not equal to black skin and other things in education.
Yeah. No, I do not know that, but I do know that there's provisions that the federal funds generally are not used, are supposed to be used for curriculum.
Oh.
That's a state.
Oh, Mr. Dodaro, I have to tell you, in Illinois, they received $5.1 billion at an elementary school there that used it for equity and diversity. So it's being used for these things. Mr. Dodaro, can you tell me how much money was given to Drag Queen Story Hour?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Drag Queen Story Time, where men dress up as women and read confusing books to children.
First, I thought you said dry clean. So I'm